So this one is the same. Like some list was there, dictionary was there, so those kind of concept. So today we focus more on pandas. So pandas is like I would say one of the important library that data engineers should know to work with Python. So
Hello.
today we will
Yeah, hi Ramesh. Rameshwar. Okay.
today we'll work with
Hello,
Python.
Rameshwar.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, let me pull some.
Yeah, hi
I think
Rameshwar. How are you?
Tahir, I think
I'm also good.
hello
Okay.
Tahir.
So tell me something about yourself.
Tahir, can we mute Tahir? Let me check.
Okay. Okay.
Oh no.
Have you ever done work? Do you have any experience, work experience?
Hello,
Let
Tahir.
me ping him.
Okay. So right now you are pursuing BBA. Okay. Okay. So in which year are you studying right now?
Okay, yeah. So let's continue. So we have so today actually we'll focus more on like pandas, so that we can get some good understanding of that. So I think there are like a lot of material available on internet. So I mean videos also are there in YouTube. We can find a lot of videos for pandas mainly, and a lot of books are also like available. So we will be going through some material of that so that we can quickly jump around here and there and see what we can learn from there. So one such thing, I think, let me pull something from my notes. So there is a book called Pandas Workshop. I think that looks good. Let me pull that content. Okay. So this one, I think, yeah, this one is Pandas Workshop. And data, yeah, I uploaded data actually in my S3 bucket, but don't worry about that. We will be learning about all that stuff. So for now, we will download the required file. We will keep downloading. But here is like some, I think we don't need all their chapters, but let's see what concept we can grab from there. So first of all, if we start from this, so the data that they are using, we will keep downloading that data. For example, here, this is like activity. So they are saying some scenario they're providing that organization and they come to you and they are expecting something. So they have the data of 2 stores and they need your help in getting some answers to these questions. So the questions are which store has greater sales for the quarter? The second question is this, third is this, fourth is this. So in this scenario, the idea is to understand
Hello,
like
Sparsh.
how.
Hello, Sparsh.
Yeah,
Hello.
hi, Pavan.
I'm unable to see any screen. Like,
Oh, wait, sorry. I thought I shared. Okay. Can you see now?
yeah, now I can see.
Okay. So actually, I pulled like this book. This book is also like, I think, some recent book which published on pandas mainly. So we will be like going through some activities there. So I think the first one that we saw is this. So there is a company and they want to get some answers based on the data. So in this scenario, our goal will be to see like how we can answer the question using pandas. So first of all, we are importing two libraries. One is pandas. This one you are familiar with. The second is random. So random actually help us to, for example, if you want to generate a random number or pick something randomly out of a list. So all that activities which comes under that umbrella is handled by this library. So this is also good library, but our main library is pandas. Now they are loading some data. So let's get the data first. So they are using store1.csv. Let me pull that out in our current path. So also let me explain like what I'm doing. AWS S3 copy, and where I upload the data is Vista. Let me check. I think in download I will find that link. Yeah, this one. So what I'm doing in this one is we will learn about this command. So once we go to our tools, AWS tools lecture, we will learn about this tool. So this tool actually is doing like getting some data from cloud S3 bucket, so to our local. So this is the bucket we are using, and here this file it will download into current path. So if we run this one, first let's import something, and yeah, my environment I think looks good. This is something I want to use. Now you can also use collab if this local is not supported. And for this one I think once we like complete the session, I can also like share the data, or otherwise I can direct you to the GitHub. So they have a GitHub also, which where you find the data and all these things. So it's open source one. So I'm running it to get the data. It will download the data into my current folder here.
From where you are downloading this
Yeah.
data?
So I'm downloading from the S3 bucket. So S3 bucket concept will come later. So here they are in that session we'll understand more about like how to work with S3, download, upload, and all that thing. And obviously like what is S3 and why we use that, all that questions, theoretical questions also will be answered and explained. I will also like show you in GUI, like in browser also, we can explore the S3 bucket, like kind of navigation. So there also will keep like what we will do in that activity. We'll like upload some object in S3 and we see if it is there or not. And then we download some other object from there, something like that. So for here, because my data is already there, so I'm just downloading it. This one is the data. Okay, I got the data. Now I will change the path because this is actually like from the parent directory and dataset folder. So my file is directly in the current path. So either this or this, both are okay. Because if we do not mention anything, it is by default in the current path. So let's see what store has. Store one. Okay, so store one has this kind of data like Jan and grocery sales and stationery sales. So okay, so I think they have two kind of items, and they are recording the sales for, and also this is like maybe some more columns are there which they are ignoring. For example, customer or maybe timestamp, something like that. So here we can see like in Jan, but no other record like on which date, at what time. So those kind of details are missing, but still this is like some information we are getting from here. Similarly, I will also say from store to also I'm getting, because I'm using store to here. So I'm downloading that also, and I will change the path. Here also we can see directly like by opening it, how the CSV looks. So this is like how CSV is looking. It is like these are the uh, column names, and these are the actual values. This is how it is stored
This
using
is
comma.
Visual Studio, right? This one.
Yeah, in Visual Studio like CSV, we can also open direct. So this is like how it is stored. Now let's open store 2 also. Let's see. And the data frame that I'm using, like this one, we can name it anything. So we are saying in this object, I want to read my data from this CSV file. So the in pandas we have like a lot of function, but to read different files, for example, reading Excel also. So that one will be read Excel, and here we have read CSV. So that support the reading of the CSV file. So here we have first store data, second store data. It also looks same, but the details are like for another store. And now they have some question, right? 4 kind of question. So the first question was like which store had the greatest value in sales? Okay, so they want to identify like the total sales, which store had the greatest, the highest value in sales. So that means like which store is performing better in terms of sales. So the pandas power is coming here. So what we are doing, can you like, I mean, trying to explain like what we are doing in this line?
First of all, we are selecting the grocery sales and stationery sales from the list store one. Yeah, square brackets are there, right? I think it's a list. From that, we are selecting the grocery sales and stationery sales. And then uh, one thing I understood is like we are doing the sum, but I don't know. I didn't understand. From
Okay, so basically the sum is like pandas function. So basically once we like get the slice, so it's also like one way to slice where we just pass a list of columns that we need. And let's say for example there are 3 columns, right? So if we pass a list of only 2 columns, we get those 2 columns. And in pandas actually we need to provide like double list. So one list is actual list, and we need to enclose in a square bracket. So this is like how we get the list. So if I just get it from here and paste it here, we can see that those 2 columns are there. So if I just need grocery sales, for example, from here, I would say only one, like this. So I get the only one column. So this is like how we slice column wise. And
so
now,
if I need
yeah,
3 columns, then I should type 0:2, right, in the list.
yeah, I mean ilog, yeah. Then if you are using index, then ilog will work.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is for like LOC mainly. Like in LOC also we can use that. So the row and column, the row will be like column. So let's try that. If we say store 2 and dot loc, so the difference between ilog and the loc is that ilog is like index location and loc means simple location. So when we pass the index, that means we need to use ilog. Otherwise we can also pass column names instead of index. Then we need to use loc. Like they are the same, but it's like one we need to pass index. And if we do not want to pass index, we want to pass some names, then we can use loc there.
We can use just one square bracket, right, for
Yeah,
list, but
square
we
bracket is, yeah. This is also like feature that instead of using LOC, if you just want to get the full data, so the format will be like this. So it's a short notation of that format so that every time users do not have to type everything, right? If they want to get a whole column, so they just mention this also like as a feature that don't worry of LOC, just mention like this as a list. So we can get the set. It's like all
here
column.
we are using 2 square brackets, right? I think for list we need to use only one, right? One square bracket.
No, yeah, no, I mean, like this one, this particular one, we can also
Yeah.
convert this like this way, like this. So if we cut it from here and we say columns and columns equal to this. So first we create a list of our
Okay,
columns.
got it. Yeah, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So it's like I was also like when I was learning super confused. Double list, I often like made a mistake and only use single list, but with time, with practice, I started using double list. But like I understood like from this the best way, like create a list and then it is like clear.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally, I mean, this also you will see a lot like inside square, inside this background bracket. But in this case, actually, they are using square bracket. Therefore, it becomes a bit confusing. So, but yeah, this is how we are like pass our list to data frame. And then after that, they are taking the sum, but they are passing one argument which is like x is equal to 1. So x is equal to 0 means row wise operation, and x is equal to 1 means column wise operation. So that is a difference, like axis. So they are like axis. So one axis is like your x, one is y. So they call it zero axis if you want to perform something this way horizontally, and if you want to perform something vertically, they call it one axis. So let's pull this out and see what this gives. So it's like sum of axis wise. So here it is 0 to 49.
Okay.
So yeah, I think what they are doing, I think, is like x is equal to 1 means like they are adding this, right? It's like
Yeah.
horizontal operation, and 0, let's try 0. Yeah, 0 means like vertical. So it's like opposite, yeah. So 0
Oh,
is like vertical, like columns, and 1 means like row. So when we pass row, what they are doing is they are like adding the sum like this. So 16 plus 57 is one value, then 44, 139 is another. And so they are taking that level sum, and then they are again
taking
adding
some of that.
everything
Yeah.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. So like they are doing it this way. So if we add this, I mean, this makes sense, right? Because they are just combining different categories into us, like how much sale was in that particular row, and then they are adding all that. So now we have total sales and then total sales of store two, and then we can compare. So we can say store one print, store two print. So we can see this performs better.
In this scenario, whether we use x equal to 1 or x is equal to 0, the answer will be same, right?
Yeah. I was also thought about that. Like there is no way, like because we are adding all that. So let's try that 6082 and
Yeah, same
580.
answer.
Yeah, because anyway we are like adding everything together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they are just like showing us some features, axis of features also. So after that, the second question was which store had the highest sales for grocery. So they are saying the highest sales for particular column now. Only grocery they are asking. So now they are taking like single column and taking some. Is we can see, okay, this one is performing better if we are considering only grocery.
But I had one doubt. Here also we are taking the, like we are using only one square bracket instead of two. I didn't understand here. Because anyway we are using store one of column, right? Then we should get two square brackets.
Yeah, so actually one, when we get one, actually we get like yeah, let me explain. So there is a concept of series and data frame. So what happens when we use a single like bracket, I mean we do not pass a list, so we actually get a series like this. So if you will see that if we say type of this, we can say type of this, so like series, right? But
Yeah.
if we try double like this, it will data frame. So when you want to get something as a data frame out of it, so we need to use double bracket because it was only single column. So anyway we can use series also, because this data frame which you are seeing in pandas, the pandas data frame is a combination of pandas series. So it's like this is one series, another series, third series, and when we combine multiple series together we call it data frame. So
Okay.
single column therefore could be a series directly. But good observation that why we use only one here. So like this is like the concept that double square bracket becomes a data frame for a single column. But here we are getting a direct series and then we are taking the sum.
Okay.
Then the third question was which store had the highest sales for the month of March. Okay, so this is like sounds a bit more complex question. Like they are asking which store had the highest sales for the month of March. Okay, so we can see that. Okay, we have to first get the rows where the month is March, right? Only those rows we need to focus, and then from there we can highest sales for the, yeah, we need to then add all the sales together for that month, like for that particular March rows. We just need to sum it up, something like that,
Yeah.
right? And then we can compare. So what they are doing is a bit complex, but they again want to not solve the problem, but their objective is to show us the power of pandas, like the features of pandas by some use case. So what they are doing, they are first taking group by. This is a
Yeah.
very common operation like group by. So by this operation what we do, when you have some column by which you want to like taking group, so it will create a group category. For example, in our month column we have Jan, Feb, March, right? So for Jan we have one data frame, for Feb we have another data frame. So instead of manually selecting the columns, the data frames, like only rows where March month is March, we can also take group by help. So group by automatically do that for us. And then we are saying just okay, so I think they are not actually doing it for March, I guess, because if we notice here, like they are doing it for group by, then this is like the columns that they are using: grocery sales and stationery sales. And then this is again like this comes with group by. So once you take group by, and after that we need to also provide like what we want to do on the operation side. So it's like multiple things we can do. We can take mean, max, min, or count, or sum. So these are like common operations. So in this case, because we want to take a total sales, we are taking the sum, and then again we are taking the sum by. I mean, again they are performing that operation, like they are also showing the access usage here. But access usage is again like unnecessary. But this one I'm not sure how they aggregate for March only. This will show us like a month level aggregation. So from here they want to show us not only picking for March, but how can you get the aggregation for like total Feb, Jan, March, all that. So
But
our, yeah, if we like need to solve it without showing the features of pandas, we just need to like select the rows for March and then we apply something like this, exact like this, because this one is like total sales but overall, right? And then we just need to filter for March and then we can apply this operation. But this time they actually did the same thing, but they performed on a group by aggregation. So that is a difference. And their objective is actually to show us how we can perform group by aggregation. This is nice, right? This one aggregation.
yeah, but how can we use for March? Like how can we separate the month? Like in group by function, we have to say that month is equal to March, right? Or else,
Yeah, so basically, we actually, I think, for taking the month of March, we can filter out like this. So we will say store one, and in bracket, we will say, so this is like nice, where we say LOC here, and in LOC we'll say the rows and columns. So rows we want to filter, right? Because in rows we do not need the all the rows but only selected rows. So in rows we will say we are store one, and then the column which is like months, and equal, and we'll say the name MAR, I think is that, yeah, this one MAR. So this is like filter for row, and only these rows we need, right? This is like how we apply the filter in LOC. So this is a row we need, and column we need just two columns. So again we can pass something like this. Wait, wait, I'm pasting Control C V. So it's like filter by location. So it's like the rows and the columns that we need. So we can do that also. And then we can take the aggregate sum. No, without aggregation also, like simple sum, what we did here. So simple, that also we can do. But their objective was actually to show us the group by feature. Therefore, I think they took it by this approach, which also is good, because maybe somebody can ask us to like get the sum for multiple months. So that way it will be like a bit easier, right? Let's say if somebody asks you to get total aggregation for all 12 months, so that will be like a bit headache if you do it like that, right? So this is like a better approach which we use. Group by is very common, therefore, in operations that we apply. So this one is store one, then store two, and then we can compare for the month of March or maybe Jan also.
Can you explain me group by function again?
Oh yeah, group by actually, like we need to pass one column name, and what this feature do, inside list we can say, okay, months is a our column on which we want to group. So like we have for example, we have April also here. So this will like for each of the given category, it will like create a group, separate group. So the data frame, if you imagine like this particular set that we got here after filter, so that automatically will be reflecting after group by. Then they ask like what you want to do on that. So we are saying we want to take the sum of the rows, and which rows, only these rows. So that is something we are doing.
I got it. So for group by function, we are using the aggregate function, right?
Yes. So aggregate is, I think, we need to provide. We cannot skip that. And after group by, we need to also say after group, like on each group, what operation we need to perform. Is it count, aggregate, or something else? So it's just like Excel. I think Excel also has something like pivot, right? In pivot, we need to provide aggregation, like what you want to apply on that. Is it some count or something else? But in one use case, actually, I remember, I know that concept, like why they call it data frame, because my goal was not to get the aggregation, but just data frames, separate data frames in a list. That also I did, but I think that was the only time that I used the feature of group by there. But otherwise, in group by, the only common feature is if you want to get some aggregation. In that case, we do group by. So it's like once you get the requirement to aggregate something, then we use group by. It's not like we use group by then we aggregate, but once we get the requirement to aggregate something, so then we use some group by method. And the next question, the final one, I guess, is in how many days were the sales value for stationery greater in store one than store two? Yeah, this also is nice. And here they are using something called GT, greater, and what they are doing. So first of all, yeah, this is, I think, the same filter that we also use, right? So you can relate it. I think that inside this square bracket, they are actually applying to select only the rows. And when you leave the column blank, so it means like all the columns. So we don't need to always provide that. And if you need to use columns and list both, column and rows both, then you need to provide LOC also with comma. But here, what they are doing inside the data frame, they're applying some filter so that they can identify on which days in that month this particular condition is applying, which is like as per the question. So they are in the question, they are asking for a condition which is like sales value for stationery was greater in store one than in store two. So they are saying the store one stationery sales and store two stationery sales, and they are saying this boolean, is it greater or not? So they are using this method like store one stationery dot gt compared to that. So it's like, let's say you have 10, 5, 10, 20. So this GT actually compare that row by row, like, okay, 10 is greater than 5 or not? Yes. 10 is greater than 20 or not? No. Something like that, row by row comparison. And then axis 0 again is like column, right? Axis 0 is column level. Not sure, we'll
Yeah.
also try with one also, like, let's see what this gives, and then we'll try with one. But they are saying some warning we are getting. We are saying Boolean series key will be reindexed to match data frame index. Okay. And yeah, okay. They are actually, it's like filter, we know what the filter is doing. But here, let's understand this. So they are saying store one stationary greater equal to store one, and store one stationary dot gt. This x is equal to 0. Let's try with one what the result is. If we get actually some output or error. Yeah, we are getting some error. No x is named 1. Okay, so it's like only 0 is available as axis. But here they are saying in how many days, but the sales value for stationary greater than store 2. So let's validate this. What we will do for validation, we will first uh, create object here, and we will say x1 equal to, or let's say store 1 s1 equal to this, and we actually take a data frame out of it like this, and just head, so that it's like only 5 rows, right? So let's see what we get. So this is my favorite way to like validate, because when you work on big data like terabytes, petabytes of rows, also like millions and billions of rows, that is very common nowadays. But it always start with very small, because when you need to test your code, you need to test on a small like sample first and see if that is working or not. So this way you will be able to develop the code faster. So that is like my favorite approach, which I use a lot. So I pick a very small case and see if that is working. Then I increase the size and complexity one by one. So it's like test-based development. I think the term is so called test-driven development, TDD. So that way actually is very effective. So I'm taking a sample here, right, of my 5 records. And similarly, I will take S2 here, and then it will be from store to those 5 rows. Let's see what we get. Okay, so now we can easily see, right? We can easily manually compare it. And the question is, in how many days were the sales value for stationery greater than in store 1 than store 2? So we can see that we want to develop some function that will give us this will like remove this row, but store this row because it is greater, right? And this one is less. So we want some function where this row will come, then third row will also come, the fourth one will not come, the fifth one will come. So our test is like, we want to develop a function where after applying the logic, these 3 will come, index number 1, 2, and 4, right? So that is our scenario. So let's see if their code is good or not in our scenario. So we will replace the store 1 with s1, and store 2 with s2. Okay, so let's say if what they are doing is correct or not. So they are saying 1, 2, and 4, right? So it looks like
What
our
is
test
GT here?
is,
What
yeah,
greater function GT means?
yeah. So this means actually like to find the greater, like if your
Yeah.
left side is greater than right side or not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like left right thing.
Okay.
So if I mean, obviously to reverse it, then you can like reverse here. So left will be like checked first, and then if left is greater than the right.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
understood.
we like it is good, right? We manually verified it for a small case. So that is like it's not confusing now, because we
Yeah.
can even make it more complex and again check and then again check. So we generally create some test cases scenario, and generally like common test, and we call some edge cases. So edge cases also is very common scenario where we try to like break our code, and we see in which condition or exceptions our code can break, and we also try for those exceptions. And those edge cases actually is very good skill. Like we try to develop our code so that it could be broken down, and then again we can like revise our code and refactor it so that we can have, like we can also pass the edge case scenarios. But here, I mean, we don't need to do in that deeper scenario analysis. But yeah, I mean, this is like how we verify also, like if code piece is good or not. If not, we can easily like test something so that until we get this kind of a which we're expecting from our test data, right? So this looks good, and we are just saying okay, our code looks good, then we are applying it. So it looks like these were the rows. So these were the index, and index is up to max, but the some rows are missing. For example, 1 to 4 is here as we tested, then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think 20 is missing, for example, then 22 is missing. Yeah, only some rows are there where the data is not higher in the store one. So those are like being filtered out. So I mean, this is a small activity which is nice. They provide a scenario and then they also explain how to solve it. So this was good, right? We should continue, right? And let's see what this exercise is. Now we will increase the speed. We will increase our speed so that we can cover a lot more content now. Writing data is okay. So this one they are saying, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to do this all the chapters exercise in homework, and I will also share the link there where you can get the data and the code. And if you face some difficulty, then you can ask, or if you like want me to continue something on some chapters or some code, then also we can pick up there. So this will complete our basics of
Okay.
Python.
Okay.
So yeah, so this one actually what they're doing, they are I think writing database. Okay, so they are loading some data and CSV. Yeah, this one is also sometimes what happens. Our data is not comma separated, but the symbol is used to like some other symbol is used instead of comma. So we can tell pandas to use that symbol as a delimiter. So here we are using semicolon as delimiter. And after that we are printing the head. So this is how the data looks. Head means top 5 rows by default,
Yeah.
but you can also mention 10 and 15 also. Yeah, so these are the 33 columns we have. Then we are taking a small sample of 5 records and we are saving it. But saving, I think code, I think what they are doing, they're actually asking us as exercise to save that code into some data. So I think that was exercise they are asking us to do, and not sure if answers were there or not. I think in their Git we can find the answers, maybe, not sure, but yeah. Otherwise, this will be good. You can like do the exercise also if you find time, but, and that will like we can also like check if that is correct or not. So this I think activity 1 was good. Then they are saying activity 2, and then here they are saying okay, again pandas load, then data is this and we are reading the data. And then so this one is like method of data frame which will actually print the data types. For example, if I check here, I can say store one d types.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
D types.
and info also we can do. Info is again the same, but it actually shows more information. Then date time, here we are converting one column which is date from string to actual date time, and then we are setting the index for that particular date and we are saving in CSV. It's a very small exercise activity, I mean. Then here they are okay, this is nice. Now they are using database also. So SQLite is actually a database which is like you can say in-memory database. So the database that we create and like save, it stores. It's just like Postgres or MySQL database, but it actually saves in a folder directly in the current folder. For example, here they are saving here. So this is like very nice way to work with the databases also. Like for example, if you want to practice something, right? So you don't need to create larger, bigger servers like Postgres or MySQL. You can simply use SQLite also. This is nice. So basically it's called in-memory database, where your database stored there and you load into memory and then work there. So it is limited to the size of your memory. For example, if you have 30 GB of memory, so at one time you can work with your hard disk and all that, like limitation is there. But I mean, this is also a good way to start working with databases. So practice the activity 3. And what we are doing, we have some database. You will get the database there, and they are connecting to it, and they are reading, I mean, running this particular SQL. So this way you can also practice some SQL commands. For example, this SQL command is selecting a particular column from the table and the condition where. So where condition is where the type is another column, and the value they are selecting is table. So only the rows where the column type contains table, they are selecting the only name column. So that is the query. And so they are printing it here. Then again they are saying all the records from orders table. Then again they are group by, applying some group by, and taking the sum this time. And after taking sum, they're also applying sort values. So they are now sorting values. We can also apply, for example, sort values in this group by that we did. And we can also sort here based on the months or values. By month it will be, I think, like alphabetic, and by numbers it will be like from small to large, increasing order. Then yeah, I mean, again they are applying one another kind of logic, but this time it's very interesting because it's like a combination of Python and SQL. And this comes also shows the power of Python, why we use Python. Like it's a very dynamic thing. So you are just using a string, but also dynamically replacing your variable, passing the variable, your Python variable, into your query. So it's like at the last you are saying where customer number equal to this large customer, which I think is coming from here, whatever you get from here, total the orders, right? So you are passing that as an argument here. So this is nice activity, I would say. Similarly, we can do other activities, and after that, assigning this other activities to you as homework, right? Let me know if you face difficulty there. And if you want to practice more, I can also like share you some more books and videos also. But I mean, I prefer books compared to videos because it gives me more control to navigate, and to jump to different things which I need to know. And but yeah, I mean, I can also share videos and books both. I have a lot of content on Python, pandas, and all that. I mean, there is a like huge content available, and all are good. So there is no, I mean, you will not face difficulty in finding content and practice. But let me know once you like finish it and you need more practice. Otherwise it will be like good. Once you finish it, I'm expecting like at least you have basic understanding of pandas, so that we can start from the next one. So I will also like briefly show you what we're going to do next in that will be like kind of advanced Python. And that will make sure that from Python side the things will not be difficult when we actually build some use cases in data engineering. So I will show you a couple of use cases now which we are going to learn next. And that will be a bit hard, it will be not very easy, but like it will be a challenge to understand. But we'll like trying to understand, and we'll try to understand that at the best. So let me quickly pull that out from my notes.
So what are the chapters I have to do now? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Chapters, I think, let me check quickly. Fifth one is, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine. Once we cover the 2, 3, 4, and I think this all is pandas. Like fifth one, let me check the 14th one. These are like quick 5 minute thing. But for you, if I would say like time 15 minute, I would say 15 minute is the ideal time I'm expecting you to give. For example, this one is like again pandas. It's like using some drop NA to drop the nulls, then parsing some, yeah, apply operation will be a bit tough. For me, actually, it took a lot of time to understand and digest. So this one is something, if you need help, let me know. We can also like explain in our session also, something like this. So it's like plotting and all that activity they are including. So in the last chapter, So yeah, I think they are like focusing on the relevant things. This whole thing is something we need in our use cases. So try to like complete as much as you can, and then you can also like parallelly practicing that uh, after that also. But if you finish it, let me know. Otherwise, we will try to complete also. But 14, I think easily you can like 14 we can target chapter 1 to 14. Is that too much or
No, it's not too
okay?
much. One thing what I have to learn is I don't know Visual Studio basics also. So from today I will start learning that. Pandas, as you mentioned earlier, SQLite, Lite 3. I should learn all of these three things. Can you share me any like lectures, materials so that I can learn from the links?
Okay, yeah. So for this one, I would say they have a book actually. I can show you the book also, like Panda's Workshop. So let me share that.
Yeah, I'm having time so that I can put some time on this. I can learn.
Okay, this will actually build a very solid base. So in VS Code, actually, the once you install the VS Code, um, yeah, on the left side is like icons, then navigation, then main window. On the at the bottom, you can see the terminal. So I think these four are the main things. Then you can also like quickly navigate your VS Code. Let me share the screen for that. I will show
First of
you
First of
pandas.
all, what I did was I installed Anaconda. I installed VS Code. From then I didn't do anything. What should I do from then to start doing Python?
You installed Anaconda. So your system is Mac, right?
No, mine is Windows.
Oh, your is Windows. Okay. In Windows, actually, let me check.
I installed Pandas, no, Anaconda and
Yeah,
VS.
Windows, I think I remember. So basically, once you open Navigator, you will be able to see the VS Code there, I think. And from there, from the Navigator, we can launch the VS Code. So that way, actually, Python automatically works. Otherwise, if you open directly VS Code, the Python will not work because Anaconda is not able to attach its kernels to in
Then what?
Windows. In VS Code in Mac, actually, it automatically attach. For example, if I open the VS Code in my system or Unix based system, so they actually automatically attach the kernels from Anaconda. But in Windows, you have to first open the navigator, Anaconda navigator, and from there, yeah, and from there you will see the VS Code icon and the launch button. So if you
Now I
click on
go.
launch, it will like open the VS Code, which will be like Python. You will be able to work directly.
Uh, Give me a minute.
And pandas will also like install there in Anaconda by default. So we don't need to install that. So yeah, this one is the book, I think. Yeah, Pandas Workshop, and the book is this one. This is the book. So it's on O'Reilly also. This book is available. So Pandas Workshop. You can also follow the book, and then this particular link. Let me share. Let me share in group. I'm sharing to Tahir.
I should extract from GitHub.
Yes. You can like so in GitHub. What you can do? Go to code and download the zip. So that
Okay.
way it will like download all the data also. So, and for example, in chapter 3, remember we have like database SQL DB, right? So in dataset, you will find that like bikeshare.db. So it's a SQLite database. Again, this one is company database. So they have different databases. And then in this is a book. So this book actually released this year. So it's also like very recent. So it's nice. So basically here you can also like go through the chapters. For example, basic is fine. For example, if you're working with IO, the database, so you can go through the chapter, and then also you can like learn from there the theory part also, like what we're actually doing. So that way, actually, if you have like, it will like be more interactive than if you also like learn the theory and all, but directly code also, whatever you prefer, both are good. So just focus on Panda's workshop, and with that, I think it cover all the required things that we need. And then we start the advanced session. And first of all, we'll confirm if this is covered. Otherwise, we try to first cover it, and then we start the advanced session.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, let's meet tomorrow then. And by then, you got the task, right? This one, Panda's workshop.
Pandas workshop and chapter 1 to 4 I will see if I can. And I will also try to learn VS Studio also.
Yeah. No, chapter 1 to 4, but I would suggest like whatever you can cover, like 5, 6, 7, also 8.
Yeah.
So that way, actually, we can like on a very good start. Otherwise, we will give some more time. Like tomorrow, also we like understand some more concept then. But don't put too much pressure. But like main thing is to understand first. So like start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you have capacity and energy, then also you start like 5, 6 also, whatever you can do, and then from there we'll cover next.
Okay.
Okay then, yeah, let's meet tomorrow then. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tahir. Thank you, Bhavan.
Bye.